Hello YouTube, this is Alderon Apiary's YouTube channel, and today we're going to talk about how to get started in beekeeping. The first thing that anyone should do before they get started in beekeeping is to do a little bit of research, a little bit of studying. There's a lot of good books out there. I've put on the screen a few that I think would be helpful. First Lessons in Beekeeping is a classic. The Beekeeper's Handbook is the first one that I ever read. It came with my starter kit. And then The Practical Beekeeper, Beekeeping Naturally by Michael Bush is also an excellent book. You can find a lot of that information on Michael Bush's website. Another place to get some good research done, of course, is on YouTube, watching some videos. I like The Fat Bee Man. Obviously, my channel has quite a few good videos. There's a lot of Michael Bush videos out on the YouTube. So just search out the different beekeeping videos and go from there. There's also some excellent websites out there. The one that I've used for almost 15 years is beesource.com. That's a forum where probably thousands of beekeepers with tens of thousands of years of experience gather and discuss beekeeping. All of this combined, the reading of the books, the watching of the videos, and checking out the information on the websites, will allow you to decide what kind of beekeeper do you want to be. Do you want to be a small backyard beekeeper? Do you want to be a sideliner? Do you want to be a commercial beekeeper? Do you want to use different chemicals in your hive to address the different issues that happen? Do you kind of want to do a live and let live sort of thing with the survival of the fittest? With less treatments or no treatments. So there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat of beekeeping. And by doing some research, you can decide what works best for you with your situation, your temperament, the way you feel about things. So the biggest decision that you need to make, other than what kind of beekeeper you want to be, treatments or not treatments or what have you, is the size of equipment that you want to use. Do you want to use 10 frame deeps? Do you want to use 10 frame mediums or maybe 8 frame mediums? The answer to that question is going to be based upon, again, you and your physical attributes. How old are you? Are you a muscle-bound bodybuilder, or are you a slight person with not much strength to you? If you are somebody who's a massive bodybuilder, perhaps you can use all 10 frame deeps, and handling a 90-pound box of honey would not be a problem for you. Some folks use the 10 frame mediums for their entire operation. 10 frame medium full of honey is maybe about 60 pounds. And then others who want to lighten the load even more will use 8 frame mediums. So maybe you're talking about 40 pounds if it's completely chock full of honey. What I do is I use a combination. I use 2 10 frame deeps for the brood chamber where the baby bees are going to be raised, and then I use the 10 frame mediums for the honey. And basically what I tell folks is anything in the 2 bottom boxes is theirs, anything above that is mine. And so again, you can decide what's going to work best for you based on your situation. After you decided what size of equipment that you want to use, then you're going to move on to the kind of frames that you want to fill that with. Do you want to use the wooden frames? Do you want to use the plastic frames? They both have their pluses and minuses. Do you want to use plastic foundation? Do you want to use wax foundation? Do you want to use no foundation at all? Again, they all have their pluses and minuses. You can go to one of my other videos. I'll put a link on here for the foundationless beekeeping, which again has its pluses and minuses, and I go into the details in that video. Which can instruct you on if that's going to be the way you want to go. After you've got your frames and your foundation figured out, now how do you want to cover, what kind of foundation do you want, what kind of roof do you want on your house, so to speak, for your bees. There's 2 basic choices for the lids. You can have the telescoping covers, which you generally will use an inner cover with. The inner cover is there for a little bit, perhaps a little more insulation, but the biggest reason it's there is to help keep the bees from gluing your telescoping cover down and making it near impossible to get off when you're trying to do an inspection. The other choice is a migratory cover, which again is what a lot of commercial beekeepers use because they're very inexpensive to build, and you don't have to worry about having an extra piece of equipment with the telescoping covers. Then what kind of foundation do you want to start with? Do you want to have a screened bottom board so you've got ventilation for the bees? Perhaps the varroa mites might fall as the bees are grooming themselves. They fall through the screen and can't get back in the hive and they die. Those are some reasons why to have the screened bottom board. Or you can have a solid bottom board, which is just as it sounds. It's a solid bottom, and for the winter time, maybe for folks further north, that might be the way to go, so that it's easier for the bees to keep things warm. But you would want to keep in mind that there is moisture in the hive from their respiration, and it'll need somewhere to get out, perhaps an escape, a vent hole at the top. There are also some people that kind of do the best of both worlds, where it's half screen and half solid. That might be a pretty good compromise. I just use the screen bottom boards with the insert at the bottom that folks use to count mites with, and then so in the spring and summer I'll leave that wide open, nothing in there, so it's fully ventilated. And then as we get close to winter, then I slide in a tray. I'll slide it all the way in, and then I back it off about an inch, so they get mostly protected from the high gusty winds blowing cold air up underneath them, but it also allows for some ventilation to help run the moist air out so they don't get drips, condensation and drips. So you've got your boxes and your frames and your lids and your bottom boards, and now here's some other equipment that you'll want. Do you want a bee jacket? Do you want you want to be complete covered? Do you want a bee suit? You'll also want to choose a pair of gloves. And then the hive tool that you'll see there is a J-hook hive tool. It's the one I'm partial to. The J allows you to pry up the frames quite easily. And then you also want a smoker that helps mask the alarm pheromones when you're doing your inspections and helps keep the bees from getting too bent out of shape. Where are you going to get all this from? Well, here are 4 different suppliers that I have used in the past. Dedant, Walter T. Kelly, Man Lake, and Western Bee Supply. As far as which one to use, it might be as simple as which one's in your neighborhood, so to speak. Which one's the closest? Can you drive by and pick up your equipment and not have to pay shipping? Do you have a big enough order that Man Lake's free shipping kicks in, and so it makes sense with that? I'm partial to Western Bee Supply when I have a larger order. Their prices are very reasonable, and if your order's big enough, those savings on the less expensive equipment, when you add their shipping in, it may end up being ultimately your least expensive option, and I've been very pleased with the quality of supplies that they have. Okay, so now we've got all of our equipment, and we've got some tools and some safety things. Where in the heck am I going to get these bees from? Well, you've got many choices. A lot of folks get started with a package of bees, which what you'll see a picture of there in the upper left-hand corner. Basically, it's generally 3 pounds of bees inside of that screened-in box. They'll also have a queen in a cage hanging down there amongst the bees. And then if you see the round entry there and a little metal part there, that's actually a can that's filled with sugar syrup to feed them on their journey. Generally, these are actually shipped through the mail, U.S. Postal Service, and your postal service will call you when they get there, and you run up to the post office and make some happy postal workers by getting those bees out of their hair. Some places also you can pick those up, so again you don't have to pay for shipping. Another way to get started in beekeeping, or to get your bees, is you can order a nuke or a nucleus hive, which is a starter hive, which has basically everything that a full-size hive has, but only less of it, and it's an ongoing operation already. You should have a laying queen, you should have eggs and brood and all different forms of development. There should be a little honey and a little pollen in there, and it should be ready to explode and move on to a 10-frame box within a short period of time. If you, again, those mostly are pickup. I think maybe a few places ship them, but those generally you're gonna get them from maybe from a local source and pick those up. Another way is you can put your name on a list. There's different lists out there to pick up swarms, which you'll see there on the bottom left. And obviously those will be free, but you never know when there's going to be a swarm, and if you purchased all this equipment, you want to leave it to chance that perhaps you'll be able to go get a swarm. Of course, they are free, and free is good, so that's one way to go. Lastly, you could do a cutout. Again, you put your name on a list, and a swarm of bees has gotten into somebody's shed or house or wall or what have you, and they've started to build a nest. Or maybe they've been there for years and the people just now noticed them, and with your proper equipment you go in and cut out the comb and get the bees and take them home and get started that way. Folks might even pay you to do this. Just make sure you let them know that unless you are a carpenter, that you're not a carpenter, and they're going to have to repair the damage that you've done to remove the bees. Well, that's the end. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. If you like what you've heard, click the like and the subscribe button, and we'll go from there. Thanks.